Yo, what is up guys? Welcome to another Wild Rift video, and in today's video I'm gonna be giving you a very advanced macro guide. I am a season 1 challenger player, and that's like a lot of it is because of my macro gameplay. I'm very smart in this game, and today I'm gonna be sharing you guys a lot of advanced tips. I already made a video about how I reached challenger where I give you macro tips, micro tips and general tips. Make sure to check it out before watching this video. Please, link in the description guys. Check it out before this video. Okay. So in this video, as I said, it's going to be very advanced. I'm going to be talking about turrets, when to prioritize turrets, when to not. I'm going to be talking about when to farm minions, when to rotate for kills. I'm going to be talking about lane priority. I'm going to be talking about dragons. And the very important thing as well, I'm going to be talking about feeding yourself or feeding a hyper carry. Okay, let's start with the turrets. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about the turrets. Basically, the first 3 turrets give you 100 gold for each plate. So 100, 100, 100. The second one, 125, 125, 125. And the inhibitor turret, 150, 150, 150. Okay, there is a thing on top of it though. Whenever you take a turret, you get experience a lot. And you share experience with your whole team as well. And on top of that, you also share 100 bonus gold with your team. So to understand, a turret gives you 100 gold, the first turret gives you 100 gold plus 100 and then plus 150. Actually, the first turret gives you 50% bonus. So in total, that is 350 gold. And on top of that, the first turret, it gives 100 gold globally. And the first turret bonus is it gives another 150 gold globally. So how much is that in total? 100 plus 100 plus 150 is 350 plus another 250 is 600 gold. And on top of the 600 gold that only you get, like I'm not even talking about the 250 gold that all your other teammates get, you also get a lot of experience. So you're going to be super ahead of the enemies, and your allies are also going to get a lot of experience. So this explains why, often the Baron lane turret gets taken first. So why I'm explaining this is, you have to decide as a Baron laner, do I want to rotate to the first dragon or not? So the way that you can decide it is, think, if I rotate, if you rotate, it's gonna be either a 5v4 or a 5v5. If it becomes a 5v4, which means that the enemy Baron laner is gonna push your turret, you need to think, are we gonna kill all the enemies and take the dragon? Yes, if you can kill them all and take dragon, do it, rotate. Because killing all the enemies and taking the dragon is definitely worth the first turret. Definitely, definitely, definitely. But, there is a but guys. If you rotate as a 5-man team, oh look at that by the way, really beautiful rocket. If you rotate as a 5-man team and it's 50-50, if the enemy has Evelyn and they are very, very strong, they have a lot of poke, so it's really hard to fight. Don't rotate, guys. Because let's say you rotate. It's not even sure that you take the dragon. The enemy is gonna get a free first turret. And this is also very important, guys. If the enemy takes first turret while you're fighting the enemies, they are all gonna get a lot of experience. What does that mean? Possible level ups, let's say the enemy Jinx is level 8, but the enemy Baron laner took a turret, now Jinx is level 9. And your ADC is level 8. So level 9 compared to level 8, that's a huge bonus. So keep that in mind. Rotate as a Baron laner if you feel like you will completely destroy the enemy in a 5v4. Not just win, completely destroy. And a really good champion for this is Darius. Because obviously Darius, Darius can 1v5. But also Malphite is a good example, really, really good fighter. But let me give you an example which is not good to rotate often, which is Fiora. Now, it can still be good to rotate as a Fiora, but, Fiora is really, really fast at pushing. And especially Nasus, terrible early game champion, but super fast pusher. Okay, that's 4 minutes about pushing turrets and things like that. So, all in all, first turret is huge. It's even more than you think it is, okay? So, really, really, really try to get the first turret. Even if someone dies for it, it is completely worth to take the first turret. Even if you give up your own turret for it, take the first turret, okay? Alright, now I'm going to be talking about something that you really probably never thought about, which is efficiency. And what do I mean with efficiency? Not just CSing, not CSing. But what I mean with efficiency is, everyone in your team needs to farm efficiently. Okay, let me explain. So when you're farming 3 lanes, when you're farming all 3 lanes separately, you're gonna take all the experience. But let me give you an example. Let's say the enemy Baron laner rotates and you want to push mid lane. What is gonna happen? I'm gonna try to make this simple for you to understand, and you might need to rewind to really understand this, but this is a very, very important concept to the game. If the enemy, like if your Baron laner rotates and the enemy Baron laner stays, let's say he rotates. So what's gonna happen? He's gonna lose farm in his lane. But maybe you're gonna push mid lane, you're gonna get 1 or 2 plates. You might think, yeah, it's worth it because we're getting 1 or 2 plates, almost the mid lane turret. Meanwhile, you are probably losing like 10, 15, maybe even 20 minions in your own lane. Because what's gonna happen? The enemy is either gonna freeze the lane or they're gonna push. And do you guys know how much 20 minions is, golden experience wise? A minion's average worth is like 50 gold. 20 times 50 is 1000 gold. This is just I'm trying to make it easy for you to understand. But basically, you want to be efficient, guys. It's not worth to just rotate and push one turret. Don't do that. Stay in your lane, farm efficiently, only rotate if you either want to get a kill, if you either want to help your jungle, or you can get the turret. If you can actually get the turret, it is worth it. However, it's still close, it's still close, because minions are worth more than you may think. Let me give you another example about when to decide to rotate or not. These are things that I really see a lot of people make mistakes on. So, like, do you feel like you never really get ahead in levels and gold in your games? And do you see some people that are like super good at it? They're like 2 levels ahead of everyone and, hard carrying the game? Let me explain to you why that's the case. So, a minion wave, the average worth of a minion wave in the early game is between 250 and 400 gold. The front 2 minions are worth 65 gold each, so that's 130 gold, and the tiny minions are worth 40 gold each, so that's 210 gold. But there can also be a cannon minion. A cannon minion is worth 85 gold, so then it's 255 gold. So basically a minion wave in the early game is worth between 200 and 250 gold. Now, how much gold is a general kill worth? 300. A general kill is worth 300 gold. And you may think now, wait, what? Only 300? So that's only a little more than 1 minion wave. Yes, that's true, guys. So when you are playing in your lane and the enemy is rotating, you can think, okay, if I rotate, what's gonna happen? If you think you're gonna win the fight, rotate. If you think that you're not gonna win the fight, push the lane hard. Because if you push the lane, you can make the enemy lose one or 2 minions. And this is definitely gonna compensate for the kill, guys. This like, you are gonna compensate for it. And I see so many people flame the laners for doing this. But as a jungler, let's say you're playing jungle and the enemy laner is rotating. Your laning is pinging you to go out. Your laner is saying, hey, please go out. I don't want to rotate. What do you need to do as a jungler? Go out. Go out. Try to escape. Because if you escape, you're going to waste the enemy laner's time and your laner is going to get very ahead. And this, you really need to understand things like this. Okay, I'm not telling you to never rotate now. This is not what I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to say is make the best out of every situation. Don't just rotate to your jungler because otherwise he's gonna get tilted at you. No, screw your jungler. Do what's best for you. Feed yourself, okay? Now another tip that I have for you guys is when you're taking turrets, okay? When you're taking turrets, you have a choice. You can, let's say you're 5 men pushing mid lane, okay? I'm just giving you an example. Let's say you're 5 men pushing a mid lane. And this is a thing that I've genuinely almost never seen in my ranked matches. So you can decide to either take the turret as 5 people, 5 people under the turret, or you can just give all the turret gold to your ADC who is already fed. Let me tell you why this is actually huge. And you might think that, it's just gold, who cares? So let me give you an example. If you have one Darius with 4 items against 5 enemies, random enemies who all have 1 item. So if you count, Darius only has 4 items and the enemies have 5 items. But who's gonna win the fight? Is the Darius with 4 items gonna win the fight, or the 5 enemies who each have 1 item? Now the answer is obviously that the Darius is gonna absolutely smack these enemies. Why? Let me tell you why. Because it's actually worth more to have one teammate who has a lot of gold than having a lot of teammates who have good amount of gold. Because it snowballs, you know, the more items you get, items scale with each other. You need to understand this super well, guys. Items scale with each other. So try to feed one of your teammates. And this is so important. Like when you're pushing the mid lane, let's say you've aced the enemies, okay? You've aced them and you want to get the mid lane turret and mid lane first turret. What is a good thing to do? You know, if you are a support player, please guys, don't take the turret gold, don't take the turret experience, give it to your teammates. You are just a support, you are not gonna carry the game. If you, like, you know, communicate this to your team, what I just said. I know it may be hard to communicate things like this, but try to tell them like, hey guys, I'm the ADC, give all the gold to me, or I'm the mid laner. You know, this is especially good if you're playing duo or trio queue, you know, because you guys are obviously going to understand this and you can all communicate this to your team. Because let's say the ADC gets all the turret gold, which is huge, guys. Like you get so much gold and experience. Then the ADC is going to have like bonus items and bonus levels compared to the enemy. What does that mean? As I gave the Darius example, you know, remember, it's gonna be huge for you in team fights. You know, it's gonna be absolutely huge. I can actually make it an easier example. Let's say you have one very big strong guy fighting like 10 little kids. Who's gonna win? Obviously, the big strong guy is gonna destroy the kids. And when you feed one carry, he's gonna be the big strong guy. And the kids, you know, they're gonna be the good guys. By the way, pay attention to the game, guys. Pay attention to the game. We're super behind kill wise, 10 against 18. But we have taken all the dragons, we have stolen the Baron, and if you were actually only paying attention to me talking right now, I really suggest you to rewind and actually watch this game. Because in this game, I didn't really talk about the examples in this game, but in this game we did huge things, like really, really huge. You know, macro wise, macro. Another thing to note about efficiency is when you need to know what your champion can do. When you are playing a very, very strong 1v1 champion like Darius, like Fiora, what can you do? If you see 4 enemies on the other side of the map, like you can either push the lane or you can invade the jungle. Invade the enemy jungle. Why is this important? Because invading the enemy jungler, especially as a Baron laner, but you can do this as any laner, you're gonna steal farm, so you're gonna deny farm gold and experience from the enemy, but you're also gonna get a lot of gold experience yourself. And this is huge, okay? This is absolutely huge. Stealing the enemy jungle is huge. It can even be worth leaving your lane for the enemy jungle, because you're really gonna starve the enemy like this. And I also almost never see people do this. You know, when I play ADC, I'm also gonna talk about ADC right now because I have been talking a lot about Baron lane. Oh, disgusting slide, by the way. So let's say, look at the way that I'm playing Jinx, okay? I have 5 deaths. This is a good example. Like, as I said, this game is a perfect example. I have a lot of deaths, but yet I still have a lot of gold. Why, you may think? Why? Let me tell you why. Because I am playing efficient. I am farming a lot. I'm farming all the waves. I'm farming jungle. You know, when Evelyn leaves jungle, like Evelyn doesn't have time to take all the jungle. What am I doing? I am taking all the jungle that she left to, you know, so I can actually level up and take gold. And this is a thing that all challenger players do. And you should do it as well. Because if you do this in low elo, whoa, you're gonna be so ahead. So ahead. Like you're gonna hard carry every single game. And it's funny because in low elo you're gonna hard carry every game if you do all this, and in challenger elo you're gonna get absolutely destroyed if you don't do all this. You know, this it's kind of funny. Okay, so another thing to note is yeah, as I said, like feed one carry. About the items, I've already talked about that. Okay, play the game optimally. You know, don't waste time. What do I mean with time waste? Like, don't hesitate. You know, when you're trying to rotate to a lane, you really need to be determined about it. Like, know that you can do it, you know? You need to be like 90% sure that, okay, if I go to this lane, I'm either gonna force out a flash or I'm gonna get a kill. Make your time worth it, you know? Don't walk to a lane and then like, okay, never mind, I need to go back. And this is literally wasted time. You're wasting time doing nothing. Meanwhile, you could have pushed your lane or not. Okay, I'm also going to be giving you guys tips about pushing lane and freezing lane. There are some very important fundamentals about this. Okay, so pushing lane. If you push lane, you get lane priority. What does lane priority mean? Lane priority means that you can rotate anytime. You know, when you have lane priority and you've pushed the wave, you can rotate and help your jungler. Okay, when do you do this? If you see that your jungler is a strong fighter, so your jungler is really strong in the early game, get lane priority. And when you get lane priority, you can rotate, help your jungler, and win the fight and snowball from there. Okay? This is a very important thing to note. This is good. Also, another thing to note when pushing lanes is, you know, always when you wanna rotate, push the lane. And there are two forms of pushing. First of all, fast pushing. So what does that mean? Shoving the wave under the enemy turret. You know, just shove it under that turret. The other one is slow pushing. Now let's talk about slow pushing, guys. Slow pushing is if you only take a few minions out of the enemy wave. So that means that, I'm gonna give you an example. Your wave has 10 minions and the enemy wave has 8 minions, for example. What is gonna happen if you do this? What's gonna happen is that your wave is gonna generate a massive wave. But it's gonna take a while. It might take like 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. No, not 3 minutes, but it depends on, you know, how hard you slow push. When is this good? Let me explain. Slow pushing is generally good in the late game. You never really want to do it in the early game, because when you slow push, you're gonna lose a lot of farm, right? Because your minions are gonna kill off all the minions, and you know they're just gonna kill them, and make a huge wave. So if the enemy actually rotates to that lane, you know it's not good for you because he's gonna farm a lot. So when is it good? Let me explain. So let's say the Baron spawned in the Baron lane. As you can see, Baron lane is this side for us. Let's say the Baron spawned. What can you do as a top laner? You know, if you're in this lane, you can set up a slow push. Now, what's gonna happen if you set up a slow push? If you set up a slow push, it's gonna generate a huge wave. And what you can do then is waste time. Don't force a fight, just waste time, you know? And just waste time. And if you waste time, you know, the minions are gonna put a lot of pressure on their lane. They might even get a turret. And you know, meanwhile, the enemies are not focused on the fight because they constantly have to look at the lane that is getting pushed. And this is pretty much the only scenario where it's good to slow push, you know, if you wanna put pressure when you take Dragon or Baron. Slow push the opposite lane. Listen carefully, slow push the opposite lane, and you know, then fight, you know, wait for it, and then when someone rotates to that lane, take the 5v4. And oh my god, I talked a lot again. If you guys enjoyed these types of videos, you know, where I give you my tips and tricks, and especially macro wise today, let me know in the comments what you want to see next, right? So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And I will see you all in the next Wild Rift video. Bye bye.